So as I was saying, those arrows mean this goes forever to left and the right. So we would say anything, all real numbers is the domain, okay? Here's something else. When you take pre-calculus, which some of you will, then I start having students think of it as I describe it as algebraically, meaning without a graph. For now, you can look at the graph, okay? But I want you to just think about putting numbers in for X.
Staff and students, that concludes our lockdown drill today. Good job. Next week we'll do the tornado. But just please know, during lockdowns, we need to make sure we're out of sight. Maintain silence. I would not be on your cell phones. Should one ring, you'd be in trouble. Do not open the door.
We were doing what we're supposed to do.
In the near future, we may be doing one during passing time. So students, should we do that, you need to get to a classroom as soon as possible and or find a protected area. All right? So good job. Have a great day.
Okay. Has a teacher ever showed you that symbol before? Okay. So this is just, you don't have to write it down, but this is a shorthand notation for all real numbers. Okay. So that's what it means, all real numbers. But if you want to use the little r, you may. Another way that I would describe it is, again, we said from left to right on the graph. The graph starts at negative infinity and goes to positive infinity with no breaks. So I'm just giving you options, guys. These are all different ways you can write it. You can write it this way, or you can write it negative infinity less than x, less than infinity, and that just tells you the graph goes from negative infinity to positive infinity. X can be anything in between, okay? And then my personal favorite, I think the easiest way to write things is interval notation, and I think you've learned this. It's just left to right on a graph. So this is like, how far does it go to the left? Negative infinity. How far does it go to the right? Positive infinity. Has anyone seen that third one before? In Algebra 1 with Mrs. Scott? Okay. What about the Thompson folks? When he did domain and range with you, did he show you intervals? He did. Okay. Whatever makes sense or is easiest for you to write right now is what I care about. It's not the notation, it's about understanding what it is. Okay. All right. Now, let's talk about range, because looking at the graph, those arrows go up. But what do you notice the arrows do not do? What's that? Well, they do not intersect, but I'm talking about range is bottom to top. Do the arrows go down? No. And so what we have to figure out is, what is the lowest value that graph attains? And you can see it from the graph. What's the lowest value, lowest y value that graph hits? -3. So the range, the lowest it goes is -3, but then it goes up from there. So the ways that I could describe that for range then, I would not use the symbol all real numbers because it's not all real numbers. As an inequality, I would say the lowest is -3, and we're talking about y values now. So I would say is less than or equal to y, but then it goes up forever. So I would write is less than infinity. When we're doing interval notation, when we want to say that the graph actually touches something, instead of a parentheses, we use a hard bracket, I call it, and it looks like this. So the bottom of the graph starts at -3 and it goes up to infinity. All right, so again, when I ask you for domain or range, you do not write all of them out. Pick something that makes sense for you to express that. Yes. This means that the graph actually goes through -3. And the parentheses would mean, so a little later on, I'll show you one, like, let's say there was an open circle where it went up to, but did not touch it. Then I'd use a parentheses We use a parentheses with infinity because a graph never ever touches infinity. It's like I would never get to that value. Okay? That's a very common question, the difference between a parentheses and a bracket. Okay. Let's do you think like 15 minutes is enough for scavenger hunt? You think if I gave, okay, let's do one more thing. Let's do rate of change then, okay? So rate of change is not up here, but it is, I don't think I put it up there, did I? Oh, I did, yeah. Rate of change is up here. So rate of change is the change in value of the graph of the y's or the x's. And so in a line, we call this slope. If it's a line. Okay. If it's not a line, you can find the rate of change over a curve. It's just that in a line, it's always the same, okay, because it's got the same slope. In a curve, the curve is changing, so the rate of change between different points is going to be different. But the formula is still the same. So it is going to be the change in y over the change in x. Sorry, that looks all like one word, doesn't it? Change in y, I didn't space that enough, over the change in x. So you may have heard this referred to as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So just because I have a lot going on there, if you want like a formula for rate of change, that would be the formula for rate of change. Okay. Let's take a look at an example. This question asks for what is the rate of change on the graph above? Now, some people get confused because they're like, that's a point, 0, 2. No, this is referring to an interval, okay? This means from 0 to 2, okay? These are x values. So let's go on the graph and let's put a ordered pair on the graph at 0, and it's down here, isn't it? Let's label that point. What are the coordinates of that point? 0, comma, how far down did we say it was? -3. And then let's go up to 2, right here. What are the coordinates of that point? 2, 1. Do you see how on each point I have an x and a y? All right, would you go ahead and plug that into the slope formula and see if you can find the slope? I shouldn't say slope, the rate of change, because it's not straight, it's curved, the rate of change between those 2 points. This is similar to this question right here, guys. All right, now, did anybody write -3 minus 1? Perfect. You can do either direction with slope as long as you are consistent on top and bottom. So another way I could write this is -3 minus 1 on top, but then I would need to do 0 minus 2 on the bottom, okay? So this gives me 1 plus 3, 4 over 2, which is 2. The other way, you get -4 over -2, but isn't it the same thing? Do you have to do it both directions? No, I'm just showing you both of them give you the same rate of change. Okay. All right.